The distress beacon had been broadcasting for 72 standard cycles when the Zephyrian Council finally acknowledged what everyone already knew. They were going to die. Kinza pressed her four-fingered hand against the viewport of the research station, watching the asteroid field drift closer with each passing hour. The gravitational anomaly had pulled their vessel off course during what should have been a routine xenobiology expedition. Now, with their engines dead and life support failing, the 12-member crew could only wait. "The beacon's still transmitting," reported Veltar, the mission's communications specialist. His crystalline exoskeleton had dulled to a sickly gray, a sure sign of stress among his species. "But the nearest Council rescue ship is still 40 cycles away." Kinza's elongated skull drooped. They had perhaps 10 cycles of breathable atmosphere remaining. The irony wasn't lost on her that they'd spent their careers studying life, only to face death in the cold vacuum of space. "Wait," Veltar's antennae twitched frantically. "I'm receiving a response to our beacon. Unknown vessel designation. I can't translate it. They call themselves Terrans?" The crew exchanged uncertain glances. None of the major Council species went by that designation. "They claim they can reach us in 3 cycles," Veltar continued, his voice rising with disbelief. "That's impossible. Our long-range sensors show nothing within 20 systems." Commander Thrace, a stoic Cavalian with 6 arms, activated the station's central display. "Show me their trajectory." The hologram revealed a single ship approaching at speeds that defied conventional physics. More concerning was its origin point, a system labeled in their charts as Quarantine Zone Class X Deathworld. "By the Void," whispered Dr. Yemak, the expedition's geologist. "They're from Sol 3, that nightmare planet the Council classified as uninhabitable." Kinza had read the reports. Sol 3 was a volcanic hellscape where primitive beings had somehow evolved, despite impossible odds. The planet experienced regular mass extinctions, had predators that could outrun their prey for days, and weather patterns violent enough to level entire continents. The Council had declared it off-limits to all civilized species. Perhaps the classification was wrong, Kinza suggested, though her voice carried little conviction. The approaching ship defied every architectural principle known to galactic engineering. Where Council vessels were elegant curves designed for efficiency, this craft was angular, brutal, like a weapon given the ability to travel between stars. When it finally came within visual range, Kinza gasped. It was massive, easily 3 times larger than any Council dreadnought, its hull scarred and patched as if it had survived countless battles. Strange symbols were painted along its side, and what appeared to be additional ships were attached to its exterior like parasitic growths. "Attention, unknown vessel," came a voice over their communication array. The translator struggled with the alien phonemes, producing a sound that was both harsh and melodious. "This is Captain Adam Chen of the UES Indomitable. We received your distress signal. Prepare for emergency docking." Before Commander Thrace could respond, the Terran ship deployed appendages that looked more like claws than docking arms. They clamped onto the station with decisive force, and within minutes, a circular section of their hull began to glow with intense heat. "They're cutting through our hull," Veltar shrieked. "Without determining atmospheric compatibility," added Dr. Yemak, "they could kill us all." But the cutting stopped precisely at the optimal depth, and the breach was immediately sealed with some kind of expanding foam. An airlock cycled open, revealing 2 figures in what appeared to be flexible armor rather than proper environmental suits. The first to emerge was tall even by galactic standards, with skin the color of burnished copper and eyes that seemed to catalog every detail of the room in seconds. This had to be Captain Chen. Behind him came a smaller figure, her features obscured by a transparent helmet, but her movement spoke of coiled strength. "I'm Adam," the tall one said, his translator now functioning perfectly. "This is Lieutenant Kinza Rodriguez, my chief engineer. How many injured?" "None. Yet," Commander Thrace replied cautiously. "But our life support will fail within—" "We know," Kinza, the human Kinza, interrupted, already moving toward their environmental controls with a device she'd produced from somewhere. "Oxygen levels at 18% and dropping. CO2 scrubbers failing. We can patch this." She paused, looking back at the alien Kinza. "Nice name, by the way." As the human worked with impossible efficiency, Captain Adam addressed the crew. We'll have you transferred to our ship within the hour. Fair warning, our gravity is going to feel heavy to most of you and our atmosphere runs a bit hot. But you'll live. How? Veltar's translator barely conveyed his bewilderment. Your species isn't even supposed to be spacefaring. The council report said. Adam's expression darkened. The council never asked us. They took one look at our world during an ice age, decided we were primitives and quarantined us. He gestured toward the viewport where their impossibly fast ship waited. We've been exploring the galaxy for 2 centuries now. Funny thing about growing up on a death world, everywhere else seems pretty comfortable by comparison. Lieutenant Rodriguez finished her work on the life support system. The air immediately began to smell cleaner. Fixed. That should buy you another 20 cycles, though I don't recommend it. The rescue operation proceeded with military precision. Within 47 minutes, all 12 crew members were safely aboard the Indomitable, where they discovered that the ship wasn't just fast. It was a mobile city. Gardens grew in specially designed chambers, recycling air with an efficiency that made council technology look primitive. The crew quarters were built to accommodate dozens of different species, as if rescuing stranded aliens was routine. How many? Kinza asked Captain Adam as they stood in the observation deck, watching their abandoned research station shrink into the distance. Species we've helped? 43 so far. Turns out the galaxy is full of people in trouble, and most council response times are measured in months, not hours. He smiled, and she was surprised to find the expression comforting rather than threatening. We've got faster ships, better medicine, and frankly, we don't scare easily. But why? She pressed. Why risk your lives for strangers? Adam was quiet for a long moment, staring out at the stars. Because we know what it's like to be alone in the dark, waiting for help that might never come. On our world, we learned early that we're all we've got, so we'd better take care of each other. Lieutenant Rodriguez joined them, having finished settling the rescued crew into their temporary quarters. Captain, I've plotted a course for the Zephyrian homeworld. ETA is 6 cycles. Make it 4, Adam replied. I'm sure they're eager to get home. As the Indomitable engaged its impossible engines and leaped toward Zephyrian space, Kinza realized that perhaps the Council had made an error in their assessment of Sol 3. They had catalogued it as a death world and dismissed its inhabitants as primitive. They had failed to consider that sometimes the most dangerous places produce the most capable survivors. And sometimes, when all hope seems lost, the cavalry arrives not from the civilized core worlds but from the dark spaces between the stars, crewed by beings who learned to thrive where others could only die. The Deathworlders had come to help, and the galaxy would never be the same.